But before we get started, I do want to say I appreciate you taking the time to do this shit, bro. Cause nigga, you him in terms of this 2K shit. So yeah,
Oh, that's you. That's you. I'm just here.
nah, hell nah. Don't do that. Don't
I'm
do
just here.
that. You hear this nigga, Sean? You see?
I came up watching ManMan
Yeah.
videos. ManMan they come up watching
This
my
is
videos.
crazy.
Bruh,
You know what I'm
stop.
saying?
Don't do that, bruh.
Man, you know how many people that I done encountered since I met this man that say this shit? Like, oh yeah, I ain't really get to introduce myself. I'm a DJ, bro. I work with artists. I did a lot of mixtapes in my area, my region. I manage artists. I'm in Mississippi. I'm out of Jackson.
That's fire. That's fire. ManMan was that dude. I done had this talk with him before about this shit. I done had this talk with him before.
Niggas. Alright. Hey, run the intro. Hey, it's my nigga though, famous. You my nigga though, bruh. You be lacing me with some game though, bruh. Like for real. And I do appreciate it for real.
Get ready to turn that shit off and turn this shit up. Rap Games the podcast is now live with real convos and real insights, touching bases with who and what you love to stream with ManMan, Grind Hard, and DJ Young Sean.
DJ Young Sean checking in, and I got my brother.
ManMan grinding the fuck hard.
And today we have a special guest. ManMan, can you please introduce the guest for the day?
We got, I don't even know where to start because we go way back. If I'm being completely honest, when I first started like with my YouTube shit, Famous was like one of the first people to like give me like an interview type shit. Now, and this was like way before the 2K League, and I knew then like bro was on some different shit. We got FamousEnough in the building.
Appreciate y'all for having me. That you went all the way back. I forgot about that, bro. I dead forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Appreciate y'all for having me though.
So, as of right now, we all know FamousEnough is the general manager for the Miami ESports team.
I'm the general manager and the head coach for the Miami Heat esports team called Heat Check Gaming, and we in the NBA 2K League, so we play 2K.
Kind of give us a rundown of like what your everyday like job consists of.
So like this type of field, like since this is like very new, it's ran like a startup. So I'm like at the forefront of everything, right? So anything that's dealing with like say for instance, if somebody for the Miami Heat got a question about esports or gaming or something like that, they don't even have to be 2K. They gonna get in contact with me and be like, "What's this, and the third?" So it's a bunch of different hats, and like my job requirements go far past than what's on paper. So it's just a bunch of different stuff. But right now we are in season right now. So right now we're just playing 2K. We for a championship, trying to get a championship right now. We're playing for $2.5 million right now.
2.5 M.
Yeah, it's a lot of money in gaming. A lot of money.
So, as the Miami Heat right now battling in the playoffs to go to the finals, they esports team is battling to go. Well, y'all in the finals.
We're in a season just started. Type shit.
Okay.
So like while they doing that, we on a groundwork right now trying to get to the playoffs just like they is type shit.
Let's take it back. Like, how did you end up as the GM, the coach for the Heat Check Gaming? Like, where did it start?
So it's crazy because like I'm gonna start all the way back from the start. So I was in the army. I was deployed. I deployed twice. My second deployment, I was in Kandahar, Afghanistan, and I'm go to like the USO. They got a bunch of games and movies and stuff like that. So they had NBA 2K15 there. I went in there and brand new, just came out like 2 days ago, and I started playing it. That's when I figured I was good at the game. So when I came home, I started playing 2K a little bit, right? But you know, we all went through that little phase where we was trying to do the road to the finals thing, where it was for the 250K. So everybody was putting teams together and they was trying to grind that. But I noticed there was something that was missing in this, because when whatever team made it to the finals and won, they got all the coverage. and they won a 250K. This who came in second place, they didn't win nothing. So I'm like, we grinding, we putting all this work in, and the people that don't make it, they just assed out. They don't get no looks, no nothing. So that's when Famous Enough came about. And Famous Enough was basically me saying, you famous enough being yourself. You don't have to be somebody else. Just be you. And I was just trying to put faces to names, and when it came to like giving people exposure. So Famous Enough came out. I started a new Twitter account from 0 to I'm at like 38K now. 38,000 followers on there now. I started from the bottom, and like you said, that's when I first hit you up to do an interview because I had the website going and I was trying to figure out how can I push people. So that ended up happening, and I switched to like YouTube, and I started doing the Pro Am 2K Pro Am Sports Center. So it was like a whole Pro Am sport, like whole Sports Center look, but it was just all about 2K players. And so everybody wanted to be a part of that. So I started growing fast on Twitter and on YouTube at the time. Fast forward, NBA 2K League is announced, and at first I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna blow up on YouTube." I wasn't even thinking about being a part of it. I just wanted to keep doing my YouTube stuff. I was like, "I'm gonna blow up on YouTube because I'll be the only person making the content for it." Yada yada. And the third, like a month after that passed, I was like, "You know what? I want to be a part." So I started like applying for different positions on these teams. The first team that I got an interview with was the Kings. And it was like a viral moment because after I interviewed with him, I noticed that the one of the Kings owners was an esports guy, and he was big on Twitter. Like he was on Twitter a lot. So after I applied, I think I had like probably like 10,000, 12,000 followers on Twitter at this time. I just told everybody to tell him to hire me, and they were spamming his mentions, and he sent me a DM like probably like 30 minutes after I put in that first tweet out, and he was like, "Oh my God, you have a lot of fans." He said, "Did you?" He asked me if I applied, and I told him, "Yeah." He asked me what my name was. I told him. Probably like 10 minutes after that, I get a DM from like a burner account from a Kings employee asking me, telling me they about to pull my application, yada yada. And third, I get an interview, do an interview with them. I go on a second interview with them. I'm thinking it's good. I get a email back saying that they looking somewhere else. I was like, cool. At that point, I wanted to quit everything. I was like, I'm not built for this, yada yada. And third, this was like August of 2017, August 2017. But I kept going for some odd reason. I kept going, and in December, I mean not December, my bad, January 2018, Ben Spoont, the CEO of Misfits Gaming, he messaged me. And he was just like, it was like a stern message too. It was just like, "What's your email?" No, he was like, email me your phone number, just like that. So he sent me his email. I emailed him my phone number, and I'm waiting. I'm like, okay. So I messaged him back. I said, I sent it, and it just said at the bottom red type shit. And I'm like, dang, he dubbing me. he dubbed me. So the next day, he called me. He called me the next day. He was like, "I'm gonna do an interview." Yada on third. We on the phone for like 45 minutes, and it didn't feel like an interview. It just felt like I was talking to somebody that I knew. Oh, let me back up. So Ben Spoont at the time, well, still is at this time, current time, that they have a partner. Misfit Gaming have a partnership with the Miami Heat. So when Miami Heat was looking for esports, somebody to run an esports team, they reached out to Ben to vet people, and Ben stumbled up on me, and that's why he called me and this stuff to interview me or whatever. So I'm talking to him. We talking for like 45 minutes. It seemed like I'm just talking to one of my homeboys. Like we cracking jokes and talking shit and cursing here and there. And like, I'm like, this is crazy. So he 45 minutes in, he was like, wait a minute. So what other teams are you talking to? So I tell him the teams. And at the time, it's about, I think it's like 5 or 6 teams that I was talking to at the time. And he was like, "Oh man, I need to get you on the phone with some executives for the Heat." And I was like, "Okay, cool, sounds good." So we get off the phone. That the next morning, I get an email from a Miami Heat account saying they're trying to get a scheduled interview for that day. So I tell them, 2:00 I get off work. I'll be home by 2:30. Yada yada third. It's a bunch of people on the email. It's a bunch of people that's like CC'd on the email. So while I'm at work, at the time I was working at at the airport. When I was at work, I'm on LinkedIn trying to see what they, looking up everybody's name, trying to see what they do and all this other stuff, figure everything out, get ready for the interview. They called me. And it's like this big figurative voice that's talking to me, Michael McCullough. Big, he the big dog. He run the marketing department for the Heat. He's the one who came up with like the white hot. He came up with the Vice jersey, those Vice jerseys. He came up with all that stuff. So he's the big dog. And he asked me a question, then he put himself on mute. I answered the question, and as he's coming off mute, I can just hear a bunch of people in the background whispering and talking and stuff like that. So at this point I figured that I am on the call with like 10 other people. There's like 10 other people that's there in Michael McCullough's office with him while he's interviewing me over the phone. So mind you, this is 2 days. This is first day Ben Spoont, second day Michael McCullough. Then 45 minutes in, the same thing. He asked me what other teams I'm talking to, and I tell him 6 teams. And at this time, when I'm telling him this, I had just got an email from one team saying that they moving forward without me. So my heart broke, but I've got to keep my emotions intact because I'm on this call with Michael McCullough right now, trying to pitch myself to him type thing. So we end up getting off the call. A day passed by, and they sent me another email saying that to schedule another interview for. So Monday it was Ben. Tuesday Michael had called me. So Wednesday went by. I didn't hear nothing from them. On Thursday, they sent me an email saying to schedule an interview for Friday. So all this happened in the span of 4 or 5 days. On the third, yeah, facts. You know what I'm saying? Because like all the other interviews that I've been on, they would tell me like they'll get back to me and it'll take like a month. But these right here was going so fast. So on that Friday, when I get back on the call with Michael McCullough and everybody else from the Heat, he basically tell me we're gonna hire you. He's like, we don't normally do this. We like to bring people in and meet them in person before, but he's like, we feel like we got to jump on this opportunity with you before another team snag you. So we want to hire you. We're gonna send you the paperwork, your contract, and everything, and so we can get it taken care of. So all this stuff happened like fast. On Saturday, I had a contract emailed to me to sign and all this other crazy stuff. So I signed a contract. 2 weeks later, they fly me out to Miami. We shoot like a little promo video there, and then I come back home. I tell my boss and them, I was like, yo, I think I need to put my 2 week notice in because at the time my boss at the airport, but it's trippy though because at the time my boss at the airport they knew what I was going through. They knew everything that was happening, and I even did interviews in his office at points in time. He was like, take my office if you got to get an interview with a team type thing. So when I was telling him I think I got to put my 2 week notice in, he's like, okay, cool. So when I put it in or whatever, when I tell him that, the next day I come to work and he's like, you know what, we'll just call it a day right here for you. You don't have to come back. He said, I'm going to value your 2 weeks notice and I'm going to take it, but I think you got bigger things to worry about and you need to get prepared to start moving to Miami. And I was like, man, thank you. Thank you. I was, I'm back home like next month, February the 21st, I moved to February 21st of 2018. I moved to Miami for good. Moved out there and that was all she wrote. Draft was a month after that. Made it all the way to the finals in the first season. We lost in the finals, but it was like a crazy, crazy stuff for me. And me making it that far to the finals in the first season just helped a lot of the people that I was close to get in as well, because now they knew that people that was in the community, they knew what they was doing and what they was talking about. So they more people got brought in because of the stepping stone that I created. So it was like a crazy moment, bro. Like the Famous Enough stuff is insane, but I'm just glad that I'm still going. 6 seasons later, I'm still here.
I'm really blown away because I didn't know the process, how it happened, the way you explained it. I remember the beginning, but then it's like it became like a blur. You feel me? Like to me, because it's like, bro, it happened fast, bro. Because I remember it was an uproar in the community when the league was first announced, because they was like, bro, Famous gotta be a part of the 2K league because he created it. It was like he backboned it, he created it, the buzz around it, he kept all the players together. Like, how could you not be a part of it? Yeah. And shit, when we heard it was Miami, we were like, yeah, y'all shout out Miami because they got one, bro. Like they got one, and then y'all went to the finals the first year. So what was that? What was that like going to the finals in the first year?
It was crazy. Because we started off slow. So it's always you always gonna second guess yourself when you get in these type of in these environments and these rooms and stuff like that. So I was definitely second guessing myself if I can do it or not. But when we went on that run, and we won like 8-9 games in a we won 5 games in a row because the first season was only a 14-game season. We won 5 games in a row, and then we was able just to stamp and pick who we wanted to play in the finals type thing. So it was crazy. But you know what though? People never tell you this. When that confetti fall and it ain't for you, that shit hurt. that right there hurt. People never tell you that. Like they always talk to the winners. The losers, they never talk about that because after we lost, the guys went upstairs and I'm the fearless leader that got to go up there and talk to them and tell them everything gonna be all right. But I'm walking up the stairs and I got tears in my eyes, right? And I'm like, I gotta get myself together because I just lost it. Like confetti just fell on me, so I got the tears in my eyes and I get in a room and I know they got tears in their eyes when I you know what I'm saying. So I got to make sure I'm composed and tell them everything gonna be good. Boom boom boom. So I get myself together and as soon as I walk in, and one of the hardest people on the team got tears in his eyes, and I'm like, damn. So I'm like, I'm explaining to him like, shit gonna be cool. We still won $100,000. So we still won a lot of money. We ain't win all of it, because season one was only $1 million prize pool, and I think the winners got like 250,000, and the losers got 100K. So that's on top of their salary. So my players still took home $60,000-$70,000, you know what I'm saying? So it's still a lot of money that they was taking home, but it wasn't the money that they was looking for, So it's a blessing to go all the way to the finals. It's a lot of people that can't say that can say that they did that, So I'm just blessed to do it. Got a good ass team this year, so hopefully we back there and we win it this time.
What was that bounce back season like after going to the finals?
So the season after that was so tough, bro, because like when you go to the finals, you feel like you have the pieces. You just gotta work the edges. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta get it just with us picking so late in the draft because we still needed a point guard in that first season. I mean, in the second season we still needed a point guard. So we couldn't get one with us picking like the back of the draft, and it wasn't there. And so season two was tough. It was rough. We didn't even make the playoffs in season two, so it was a big ass drop off for us. And we just, I just try to keep my composure. Boom, boom, boom. Season three come around, and that's the COVID year, so that was even tougher. That's when COVID first hit and everything was on lockdown. This was the first time that the league we wasn't traveling at all. Everybody was playing from their own home market and their training facility. It was remote gameplay, so it was tough. It was like that's the crazy part because people think you doing video games, yada yada. It's so fun, boom boom. No, this shit is hell. This shit is hell because you got to be on your P's and Q's all the time, and everybody the people that's watching think they better than the people that's playing, and you can't even explain to them why they not type shit. So it's the ups and downs of the league have got some good men. It has taken out a bunch of good men. I tell you that.
Now I've never had the opportunity to play in the league. You feel me? So I don't know. From the outside looking in, how different is it just being a casual 2K player that think they, able to play in the league versus what it really take to be in the league? Like, what's the difference between an everyday casual 2K player and a league player?
So it's different, right? It's most of it is mental. You got to have like a crazy mental capacity to play in this league because everybody's good, like for sure. Everybody here is good, right? But once you start losing, right? Once you start losing and you practicing every day, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, and you losing all the time in practice, so you got to go home after losing for 8 hours straight. Get up in the next morning knowing that you about to go back into that practice facility and lose all day again. It can wear on your mental. But when it comes to like skill set, from the casual to the pros, it's a big ass gap, and I don't think people realize that until they actually have to play it. Because for one, we don't play the same game that everybody play. We call it two different things. So what everybody play, we call retail. We call that retail. But what we play, we call league build. It's a totally different game. It's not on the what you have like 2K23. It's not connected to it. It's its own separate game. It's a lot harder to shoot. The pockets that you would normally be green, they're starting to because they're like yellow. There's some yellow. If you play 2K, you know what I mean when I say it's a yellow shot. Those yellow shots that you will get are now red. They're red, so they're smothered on the league bill. We're This year was the first year that we got 99 overall bills. We used to have like in season 1 it was like 92. Season 4 was like a 95. But now we got 99 overall bills. We don't have no Gatorades, no boosts. We still got the same adrenaline boost that y'all got, but everything is like limited. We don't have like the Russell Westbrook. We don't have none of them dribble packages like that. Those are out the game. There's certain ones in the game, but certain ones are out the game because they're too OP. So something like the Russell Westbrook shit is too OP, so it's not in the game. All the jump shots not in the game. We just got Oscar. We like the 6'8" and 6'9". They just got Oscar like 2 weeks ago. For the jump shot, they just got the Oscar. So we didn't have that before. So it's a lot tougher. You gotta really lock in to figure out what's the perfect SIGs animations for you, because we don't have everything that the retail game have.
What is practice like for an NBA 2K League team?
So practice is film work sometimes. I'm not gonna say we watch film all the time, but we do watch a good amount of film. We do pay a lot of money for this film program called Synergy. We pay a lot of money for that. It's what NBA teams use. So we got that as well. It's a few racks to have. So we definitely utilize that. But on the most part, it's just a lot of just scrimming against other teams that's in the league. We just basically playing against other teams in the league and try to figure out what areas we need to work on. So I try to keep the guys. I try to schedule about between 4 to 6 hours. The first season, I was OD. It was like 8, 10 hour type days. But now I noticed that once we get too deep into it, we're not actually getting better from anything. We're just going through the motions once it's just hours on hours on hours. So I try to schedule about between 4 to 6 hours of scrims. And if the guys themselves feel like that we need to stay and find some more scrims, find some more teams to play against, then we'll do that. But I don't want to overwhelm them personally right now, so I don't. We do everything together. We go there, we go to the practice facility together, we leave together, type shit. So it's all about that off the court, bonding that the guys get. Because it sounds so crazy because it's video games, but if you have a certain type of bond off the court, it translates on the court, on the game. It translates while you're playing. So we try to make sure that everybody's good. Nobody hates each other. That's just part of the drafting process for me, to make sure that the right personalities are together. And I think this year is one of the best ways I've did it with the draft, my draft, to make sure the personality is right, and it's been working.
So what's that process like, scouting and finding potential draft picks?
It's hours and hours of my fiance hating me because I have to watch Twitch all day, every day, during my off season. So my off season is from September to like January, and so that whole time frame I gotta watch Twitch all day, every day. So if we land in bed, I gotta have my iPad on my lap with Twitch going. And putting my draft board together, seeing what works. But the main part about it, though, is for me is personality. So I try to look and see how they interact with people on Twitter. What's their communication like on a game. if there's a live event, I make sure I go to it. Like me and you went to. Shout out to ManMan for going up to Dallas with me. I make sure that I go to live events to see how people interact in person. Are they salty after they lose? Do they come to the next day if they lose? Or are they interacting with the people around them? Because you don't want those people that are just cut off to the side and grumpy all the damn time, because these people got to live together for 6 months. They got to live together for 6 months. So you got to make sure you put people together that's going to actually like fuck with each other and not be bitter and talking about each other in group chats. You know how shit is, like how 2K community is. They get to talking shit about each other, and I try to avoid that by making sure the personality that I got match up. Not too many alphas on the team. Sometimes you need a quiet person on the team to offset one of the alpha personalities, and that's just one of the building blocks for me when I start building my team together during the off season.
Okay, you touched on like what you do to like pick your players and stuff. How would you rate how hard your job is as a GM or a coach?
Stressful, bro. I was in the army, and I deployed twice. I was in dead war zone type shit, right? And this is the most stressful job I've had is doing this, because it is I'm getting these young players at a young age, and I'm having to mold them into man. And I always tell my players that if you leave here after this season, and the only thing that you learn from me is 2K, then I failed you. I want to give you life lessons on saving your money. I want to give you life lessons on how to invest your money. I want to give you life lessons on being a better man type shit. That stuff like that. So it's a lot rougher than the army, because even though I was around the people every day in the army. I didn't have to live with them and care for them type thing. They people had their own ways, but here it's just a lot different. It's a lot different. It's stressful as hell when you start losing, because you dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and you got to let them know that, hey, it's just a loss. Let's move on. But that's not how they look at it. They lose and they feel like it's the end of the world. So it's different things that I got to implement when a losing streak happens or a winning streak happens, because it's never too high, never too low type thing. So this is the most stressful job I've had.
I want to salute you on like what you just said, because I can relate as far as like being an A&R, being a manager, like in the music industry. We tend to go for like the younger, kids or the younger people that's doing music and they got talent, and they just be starting off life, so they don't have the knowledge of, like you said, saving money or knowing that you can lose and win tomorrow. You feel
Yeah.
me? So I want to commend you on that. One more thing I wanted to ask you. No problem, no problem. One more thing I wanted to ask you is, if you can change anything about the league, what would it be and why?
More focus on mental health. They're starting to get around to it. These players, they go through a lot through the season, because they only on 6-month contracts, right? So one loss to them could feel like the end of the world, because they might not get brought back next year because of a loss, and that can weigh heavy on their heart. Over like the last year or so, the league has got really, really better at this. I think because I brought it to their attention last year that they need to dive more into the mental health, because these players are going through hell through these wins and losses. And you know how on sports, right? We watch sports, right? And you get on Twitter and somebody misses a shot and somebody lose a game, and Twitter is just ramming on these people, and these are millionaires type thing, right? So they can understand how to just push away from it, right? But when these players go through that, and the same thing happen where they miss a shot or they lose a game or something, and they getting bombed at on Twitter, it's hard for them to disconnect from it. It's hard for them to disconnect from it. So the main thing is the mental health part. It is Mental Health Awareness Month right now, and the league is doing a very, very good job of pushing mind health to these players, and letting them understand that they do have help out there if they need to talk to somebody. And that's one of the main things me being in the army before, bro. I didn't know when I was depressed, because I had never been through that. I'm from Fifth Ward in Houston, Texas. So I didn't know what being depressed meant. I didn't know what being, I didn't know what that meant. I just thought I was just having my day wasn't going good, but then the next day was the same thing. Then the next, and I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know if a man was supposed to ask for help for this type of stuff. I never knew that. When I was in Afghanistan, one of my close friends died, and that's when it hit me that you got to get somebody to talk to. And so when I went through that, I knew from that point on that I'm not the only person to go through this because more people was going through it as well. So when I get these young players in, I ask them all the time. I'm like, "How you feeling? Are you good? Your mind good? Mentally, are you there?" Because sometimes you gotta just come out and just flat out ask them, like, is your mental health good? And some people get taken aback by it because people don't ask them that. But if I see you and I feel like I need to ask you if your mental health good, I'm gonna do it. And that's one of the biggest things that the league needed to work on, but they are doing it now, so I commend them on it.
That's dope. That's dope. Cause like I said, I can't relate to that. Like right now, I manage a young female artist, and you know how it is in black homes. Like some
Yeah,
grow up without a dad, like you said, being from certain communities, like we don't know when we depressed or going through
yeah,
something because we're not taught that in school. To go to a therapy or go to therapy or therapist or have somebody to talk to. Like we bottle a lot of this stuff in, especially being young black men. Like we don't. Like I grew up without a dad, so me coming to another man, like telling them, like, bruh, my mind messed up, or I need help, or anything like that.
yeah.
We feel, down. We downgrading ourselves. So I really want to commend you for real on that. By you being a coach and a GM, like, what do you do for your team, like after a loss or after stressful playoffs? Do you get the guys together? Do y'all go out? Do y'all have drinks? Do y'all go out and eat as a team? Like, what do y'all do to like kind of relax from the pressure?
So it's that's one of the toughest things that I had to realize, like how to be a GM and then how to be a head coach, because I got to do both. So when I'm being a GM, I got to think long term. I got to think like 2 years, 3 years down the line, right? When I'm being a GM, when I'm being a head coach, I got to think about now, like what's going to help us win now. But if it help us win now, so if I say what's going to help us win down the road, is that gonna interfere with helping us win now? So it's I gotta juggle both of them and figure out the common ground for it. So we do a lot of like team bonding stuff, right? We go to escape rooms. We'll play like little card games, or the guys will go, I don't know, like to I can't remember what restaurant we went to out here. We went to some, I can't remember. We'll go out to eat, and I pay for it. If we had I think during the 3v3 time we had a bad loss, and I went and bought pizza the next day for our film session. I came in with like 5 6 pizzas. I told them to come early. They was feeling down. I walked in with the pizzas and the drinks and stuff like that. I was like, let's just get comfortable. We're gonna watch film for a couple hours. We're gonna figure out what the hell we doing wrong. Like we're gonna figure out where do we need to change stuff, and that just loosened them up, because like we just lost. We just got our head kicked in, and they down because that's heavy on their mind. But when you come in and change the aura of the room, and then now we starting to laugh, and now we starting to crack jokes again. Now that loss that we just had is behind us, and we're able to keep move forward because of something as small as me walking in with pizza and drinks type thing. So it's just you just got to think of other ways to get their mind off of. Like for instance, I don't tell these dudes to play 2K all the time. I say when you at home, play a different game. When we waiting on our next scrim block, jump on Fall Guys. Play Fall Guys for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just to clear your mind off of 2K. Because even though it is our job, we're around it so much that you do got to pull yourself away from it. And I want them to pull themselves away from it at some point, but be ready for the next day.
Nah, for sure that we had Juice Man on the last episode, and he definitely said like when he's not creating content, he's definitely playing something else because basically forcing yourself trying to get better or just
Yeah,
playing something all week long gets stressful and it'll
yeah,
break you, and you'll get tired of it, and then why you want to be tired of your job? It's supposed to be fun. You're
Burnout.
supposed to
Yeah.
love it.
Shout out to Juice, man. That's my dog.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Juice, man. He gave us a lot of game on that last episode. I seen you say on one of your videos that you can't force like creating content.
Yeah.
Because the viewers can kind of see it in you that you're not enjoying it. What do you enjoy about making it?
So a lot of my content is centered around 2K, and I do a little bit of content creative stuff like that. I just enjoy informing people stuff, bro. Because like when I was coming up, if ManMan, I kid you, I'm not trying to gas you. I promise. I promise I'm not trying to gas this man.
Man, come on, bruh. Come on, bruh. Run it, bruh.
If ManMan wasn't around back then motherfuckers would never have grand badges. Still to this day, nobody would have knew how to do it. So when I saw people like ManMan putting videos out and just basically telling people how to get this and get that, I was like, I want to do something like that because I don't want to have game or have feel like quote unquote gems and not share it with people, bro. Because that's to me that's selfish as hell. But in the same sense, that's why I like creating content because I'm not a selfish person and I want to tell people how to make the NBA 2K League because the information out there how to make the 2K League, if you're not on Twitter and not in the community, you don't have no fucking idea how to make the 2K League. I want to tell people how to run pro level offenses, how to run pro level presses, full court presses and stuff like that because people. A casual player have no clue how to do that. They just go in the rec and they playing against 5 people that are probably not even pros type thing, but they're aspiring pros and they know how to do all that shit. But you are just a regular person that just came home from working your regular job and just trying to hop on 2K, hop in the rec by yourself, and you just get matched up with people and you going up against people that's running 2-3 zone and pressing you and you don't know how to beat it. So I want to help people learn how to play like the pros and not just be just a regular player. Like if you want to learn how to do it, that's the reason I do it, bro. Content is just it's not a something that I'm getting rich off of in the least bit, but it's just something that I can do when I'm not, putting game plans together or getting ready for the draft and stuff like that. And it's just help people. It help people a lot.
How often do players play different positions in the league? Is this something like a player choose to do, or is it some more so of a coaching?
So it's a little bit of both. I have this theory about because I had a player for season 1 and season 2 that can play all 5 positions, and when you get to that point where you can play all 5 positions, you're gonna be able to play all 5 positions good, but you're not gonna be able to play not one of the positions great. But you know what I'm saying? Because you're just good enough to play every single one, but you're not playing one great. And I realized that after season 2 that I pigeonholed him by just moving him from different position to position, and it was like a band-aid to our problem. Because if I fucked up a draft and didn't get the right position or right players I needed, then I'd be like, I'm just gonna throw Majestic on this right here. So I put him on a new position, and then there's another problem at another position. I'm like, oh fuck, then I gotta put Majestic on this position. So it's like a band-aid to a problem, but it's not a fix to the problem because he's just good enough to play every position, but he hadn't been able to master one because he was going from position to position. But to answer your question, it's more like a team thing about positions and archetypes and stuff like that. The team will come together and feel like what works best. There's point in times where some teams that it's strictly up to the coach. I don't like to have this democracy type of atmosphere when it comes to my team, so I try to figure out let everybody have a voice and just how they feel about what works best for us. Even if the player that's getting on this said position or said archetype doesn't think it's the best for him, we kind of go for it as a team. If we winning, then nobody's gonna complain, right? But once you start losing, then that player that's on a position or archetype that he don't want to be on, then the complaints will start, and that's warranted. That's the one of those ones. Okay, you're right, we're losing. Let's take a step back and see what's worked best. So it goes hand in hand. Some teams it's strictly to the coach, some teams it's to the players. But for me personally, I like to do it as a whole team, and we figure out what we want to do rather.
Is it a certain amount of time that a player is signed to like a Miami Heat team, or um is it like just for the season?
So it's just for the season. The contract's only 6 months. So the way it works is you get drafted, you sign your contract, and you're on that team for 6 months. After the season is over, the team can elect to protect or retain you from the expansion draft. If you're not protected or retained, then you go back into the draft pool, and you got to get redrafted onto a team because there's no free agency in this yet. So it's just draft, redraft, protect. So we can protect up to four players at a time. So it's always going to be an odd man out, no matter what the case may be. You can find your ways around it where you can keep out five, and by trading a pick to a team or something like that, you can figure it out. But for the most part, there's always going to be somebody, an odd person out that's left out and it's back in the draft pool. And if you're good enough, and if they're there for them, you can just redraft them. If they're still there at your pick. But that's the part that becomes really, really stressful for players because they don't know what the fuck is next or what's going to happen to them after the season is over. So that goes back to what I was saying about the them having bad games and the mental health part of it, because they're not guaranteed next year. It's a 6 month contract, and if you feel like you have a bad game and that could be the end of your world because you're like, oh my God, you're stressing out about not being protected or retained, and you going back into the draft pool, and that's hell.
Now that you say that, like, how hard is it for you by you wearing both hats? Like, is it solely your decision to keep players or draft players, and how hard is it to like keep up with the players that's trying to get into the league and the draft new players?
Yes, it's all me. It's all me. Unless somebody do something crazy, and it gets back to like the upper management, and then they'll let me know, hey, this person can't come back because of the disciplinary reasons, blah blah blah, and I just got to oblige by it and move forward. It's difficult to keep up with the players, but the good thing about the way our league moves is that, well, I'm gonna say our community moves rather. Our off season is when all the players are playing, all the new players and all the pros are going back and playing retail and stuff like that. So I don't have to keep up with what's going on in the 2K community right now with the amateurs, for the most part, because it's like really really slow right now. So when September come back around and the players are back home and I'm back home, and then I can just lock in on it. It's hard. It's also hard, like not thinking with your heart when it comes to this, because you can hold on to a player for too long and be left in the dust, if that makes sense. You don't want to hold on to players too long on this. You want to move forward, get them while they value, move them while they, trade them while they value is high and not while they value is low. But sometimes in this though, you get attached to players, and you're thinking with your heart, and not as a GM or a coach and trying to do what's best for your team.
Okay, I appreciate the answer. This is my last final answer. Since we've been talking about you having two hats in this league, can you basically, tell us like what hat is what and what do you do in certain hats?
So that's crazy because I just had to separate them and tell somebody what the difference was. But for the most part, like when it comes to GM and stuff like that, I got to make sure I got to order all the apparel. So we're responsible by champion. So I got to I got to make sure get counts right and order certain stuff before I even have a team in place. So we're talking about spending like $30,000 worth with champion when it comes to like apparel and gear with no player on the roster at the time type thing. So that's difficult as hell. I got to do the housing situation, the rooming assignments. When I draft players and stuff like that, I got to get their flights and hotels and all this. This all GM side right now. It's just all GM side. Sitting on sponsorship meetings and pitch sponsors different ideas that we can do if we bring them in as a sponsor. Talk of esports with the Miami Heat. When when I met Pat Riley was a crazy experience. Stuff like that. Then when it comes to coaching, I got a game plan for a game for about 3 games a week. I got a game plan for 3 games a week. Make sure that these players ain't doing dumb shit when they're out and about. Practice schedule. Set up the streams and stuff like that right before games. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. Then the days get jumbled, and I had this conversation with somebody before that. Once you start losing, once you go on a losing streak, or you lose a couple games a week or something like that, one of these roles get diminished, and it's 9 times out of 10, it's the GM role gets diminished once you start losing a lot of games, and you got to figure out how to get better as a team. So the GM side gets pushed to the side a little bit, and you focus on just being a coach and try to figure out the film session, what you're gonna do, film different stuff like that. So it all depends on how your season going, on how much time you're gonna set it to the side for each role.
Okay. And that was for the GM and the coaching?
Yeah, so the gym side was all like the ordering of the stuff, the apparel and the flights and the hotels and the housing, and then the coaching side is like the game planning for the game, getting ready for those games, 3 games a week. Setting up the scrim blocks and scrim schedules and stuff like that. So it's that little pendulum on where you're gonna put 50% here or 70% here or 30% here type thing. So you just pick and choose.
Okay. So it's good to say, like, for the whole season you are full hands on. By you wearing these 2 hats, and this is my last question, man, take over after this.
Nah, run it.
Cause he say something that spikes my interest every time. Like, by you
Yeah.
having these 2 hats, do you have a staff? Because it sounds like you are like full-fledged busy. Do you have an assistant? Do you have a team for your coaching or your GM side?
No, it's just me. The only thing that I have that is a social media manager that handles all of our social media posts on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. Other than that, it's just me, because a lot of stuff that, like, say for instance we need like a video edited or a video shot, then a lot of that stuff is handled by the Miami Heat in house. But other than that, I'm the only person, technically I'm the only person that gets checks written by Heat Check Gaming for the most part. So it's just me, and then my social media manager. He works for the Heat, but he's assigned to us, to Heat Check Gaming, if that makes sense.
Nah, I definitely do. Go ahead, man.
I actually got a chance to, like you said earlier, to travel with you to one of
Yeah, it was an amateur joint in Dallas.
the groundwork that you have to do, like aside of just being the coach.
Like it's those hours like that, because I hit you up. I was like, "Hey, you want to go to Dallas with me to this tournament?"
Yeah.
And I picked you up, and we drove. We drove to Dallas. And we was there for about 5-6 hours or so to watch people play 2K, and that's part of it, bro. Like, that's all part of it. It's not written in my job requirements, but to be to stay on top of my game, I have to go to these type of events. There's some in Las Vegas, there's some in Philly, that's all over the country, and I got to hit these events just to see these amateur players in person type thing. So that's all of it, bro. Like, but you don't want to talk about how people knew you there though, huh?
No.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about that though, huh?
I don't remember that. I don't remember
It's
that.
kind of crazy because he never told me this story. I'm over here just gassed out right now.
You don't want to talk about that. I walk in, so when we walk in, right? We walk into the building, and everybody know me, right? So everybody come up to me, and they shaking my hand and stuff like that. And I was like, y'all, ManMan Grindhard, right? And they'll look at him like, ManMan, that's ManMan Grindhard. I was like, that's ManMan Grindhard. And they would literally tell this motherfucker, they'd be like, if it weren't for you, I would never have a grand badge. And ManMan just like, oh man. I was like, no, keep telling him, dog. Dog, that was the dopest shit ever, because like I know people gonna approach me type shit because they just want to put their face to a name type shit. But when I introduced ManMan, they be like, they get geeked out because everybody came up watching ManMan videos, bro.
Man, for me, it's different though, cause I did everything from like shit at my desk. You get what I'm saying? Like, and for me, it's a different experience going to an event and seeing like people on the stage compete. You feel? Because I never did that.
Yeah.
Like, I did everything from home. You feel me? So Hey, for me, it was a dope experience for me. I ain't gonna lie. I really want to say I appreciate you for even hitting me to even go on it, bro. Cause like that's on my list of shit like that I admire.
Yeah, that shit was fucking. That was like so last minute, but luckily your ass was in Houston and we just headed out. That shit was fun as fuck. Cause I dead ass didn't want to drive that bitch by myself. 100%. I ain't want to. I was gonna go regardless, but I did not want to drive by myself.
Nah, so check it out though. I wasn't even in Houston, dog. When you hit me, I was in Shreveport. So like, bro, I think I left Shreveport probably like at 4 o'clock that morning, and I drove to Houston.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I was like, bro, I ain't missing that event, bro. Like, I'm
That's
definitely
crazy.
going, bro. So, yeah, I appreciate you for that. For a person that wanna get to the league, right? They got hopes and dreams to get into the league, or they aspire to get to the league. Like that tournament that we went to, it wasn't a league event, right?
Nah, that was an amateur tournament.
So a tournament like that, how do a player get to compete in a tournament like that?
By doing this shit online, you got to be a part of the community online and playing a bunch of games on online through those tournaments online, and then you can get to that point. Like I think that particular tournament we went to was it was like the final four of an online tournament, but they just flew the people out. They just flew the final four teams out to compete in person. So I want to. I remember. I know for a fact it was some 2K League pros that was playing in that tournament, but one player in particular, Rain, who now he wasn't in the league at the time when he was playing in that, and his team ended up winning that tournament, and now he's in the league and he played for the Pacers. So it's like those type of experiences where you can just back then it probably didn't, we wasn't thinking too much about it, but when you look at it now, you can see that the type of work that these players put in, like somebody like Rain that had to fly into Dallas and play in that tournament right there, and his name got big off of it, and now he's in the league playing for a 2K League team that's owned by an NBA team. So you have like ties to NBA teams and shit. So it's like a crazy experience when you think about it for real, like from nothing to something type shit.
I want to talk about the money, right?
Yes, sir.
So everybody know if you get to the league, you get paid or whatnot. So,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
but could you elaborate on how players can make money, not even getting to the league or being a part of the league, but still being able to compete on 2K?
So that right there, those tournaments right there, I think that tournament was for $15,000. I'm pretty sure it was. I think it was a prize pool of $15,000. So the winners took home like 8,000 or something like that. And this was a tournament that was probably like 2 weeks or something. It was like a 2 week tournament or something like that. And we're talking about $8,000 for the winners, $15,000 total. So it's a lot of money that gets pushed around. But most of this money come from like the signups, all the teams playing in the tournaments or whatever like that. So I feel, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, and I've been trying to like craft the exact right way to do this for like 3 years, and I haven't cracked it yet. But in my humble opinion, I feel like a player can make 2K their full-time job and not be in the league. By like especially during like these pros off season, I feel like they can do it because there's so many tournaments that's going on, and I feel like if you do it right with wagering your money and winning these tournaments, you can make about $4,000 or $5,000 a month and be good by just playing 2K.
I want to touch on the versions of 2K that you spoke on earlier. Basically, the league has their own version of 2K, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the same version. What did you call it?
So we got the retail version. Yeah, that's the one that everybody played, and then we got the league bill. So last year in season 5, when 2K22 was out, right? So y'all was playing 2K22, but when the league bill came out for season 5, it was still 2K22, but it had implementations like little instances or little variations for 2K23. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because 2K the retail version is made first, and then our version is made like 2 or 3 months after the retail version come out.
How much input do the coaches get on the version of the game that y'all play?
So 2K make the game, and then they fly out players to test the game. Our version, not the retail version. They fly out players to test our version, and players give their input on the game, right? So once players move into market, and we have the league build, and we're touching the game, so that's when our input comes in on what we think needs to be changed, what we think needs to be fixed. If we feel like a build is too overpowering, the early versions of it is when it needs to be said. There at some point though, they will patch an overpowering build throughout the season if they feel like too many people are using it. It's the next coming of like the 6ix9ine wars or something like that, and they will patch that build and do it. So we have a say, but it's not as much as people will think. It's all about like how league ops feel about how the game is going, type thing.
As a consumer, which version of the game do you like better?
The league build, by far. And I'm gonna say this because there's only 5 archetypes per position to pick from. So it's not something that's too crazy. Like if I can't mess up I can be on a league build and I can't mess up an archetype. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't fuck it up type shit. So it's just what it is. That's how it is. So opposed to like me making a build on retail and me like messing up the driving dunk or something, and now I can't get context on it or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I feel like the league build is better. But I did like 2K23 this year. 2K23 to me was good. A lot of people didn't like it. I like 2K23.
There is 2 different versions of 2K, right? So you playing a different version. Let's say a scout. How do y'all judge, or how do you, since they don't have their version of 2K, how do you know that they'll be able to adjust to y'all version of 2K?
That's the most difficult part of the job because we don't know. We just don't know. You just got to take an educated guess, and sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But that's the difficult part. We've been trying for years to get our version on 2K, but it's been real difficult, and it's not something that like 2K is against. It's a legal thing. So it's not like it's not like a 2K thing. It's not like a us thing. It's a legal thing. But we want the game. We want our version on the game so people can play it and see how different it is. But it's just a legal thing.
Okay, so you talked about, and this is my last question because this is important. You started in the Army, right? And you said you worked at the airport.
Yeah.
So where did you get the professionalism to be able to talk to the coaches and the GMs and whatnot for the Miami ESports? Because you did the interview all on your own, right?
Yeah.
So where did that come from?
Army stuff, man. Like the Army, I can say I hated the Army, but the Army has taught me so much how to be a better person, a better man, how to say what I mean and mean what I say, all that, So the Army did a lot for me. Army did a lot for me. It did a lot for me and my daughter. I joined because of her, and I got out because of her. She didn't want me to. She was 4 years old, and she told me right before I was getting ready to go to Afghanistan. She told me she didn't want me to die. And when a 4-year-old say that, and I asked her why, she said because she saw it on TV that when people go to Afghanistan, they die. So when she told me that, I was like, once I'm back, I'm done. And so the Army did a lot for me, and I still have friends that I call family that I was in the Army with. So, the Army, it helped me be able to communicate the way I want to communicate to help people that's high on the totem pole when I'm just a little person down below.
So looking back in hindsight, when you got that 2K15, did you know purchasing that game would get you where it got you now just by playing NBA 2K?
Not at all. I never thought I'd be here where I'm at today, and I'm forever grateful for it.
Man, that's all I got, bro. Like that's it. Sean, you got anything else?
Man, listen, I can go all night, man. We got a very important guest here tonight, man. He knowledgeable. He got his hands all around. And I don't want to hold him up, bro. Like we might have to do another episode with him, bro, because it's a lot of questions I got for him.
Nah, it's definitely mind blowing, bro. Just I don't know, bro. I just get mixed up even just thinking about, because, bro, he hit us with a lot of shit. and he did it so quick. It's like, bro, what the fuck, like. But yeah, hey,
He was answering my questions as you were asking him stuff. Like I was like, damn, now I got to come up with something else. But as he talked, as he kept talking, it was just like, okay, he just said something I can come off of. So it's just like, I appreciate the information, bro. Like I'm a 2K fan. I always been a gaming fan, even though music took over. Like I tell everybody to come on here. Like it's just an honor to be in the presence of people that's doing something that I always never thought would be possible. You feel me?
Yeah,
Because we grew up in these homes where we come from these old school grandmoms and parents, and they tell you don't spend, all your time playing a
yeah,
game and doing this and doing that. Same thing happened to me when I started doing music. It was just music was a already established business and gaming wasn't. So I went
yeah.
that route.
That's crazy because I got a quick story before we go. Because after my first season, the Miami Heat was gonna give me an award at one of the games. It was against the 76ers. So they tell me to come back up there for the game, yada yada and third. So I do, right? So I'm on the court getting an award with like 20,000 people watching me type shit, right? And I'm looking up at the jumbotron watching the thing, and then I look down, look straight ahead, and my mom and my stepdad are walking on the court. And I'm like, what the hell? And I have at this point I haven't seen my mom and my stepdad for some years because I had moved away to go to college right after the army. And I think when I was a junior is when when I was a junior in college is when I got this job with the Heat. And so I haven't seen my mom. I haven't been back to Houston in a while at this point in time. So my mom coming up to hug me and stuff like that. I'm like, what the hell going on? And that's the day that we met Pat Riley, and she came and met him with me, and so we go back to my place, and she says, man, these people sure do love you. I said, it's crazy, huh? She said, just to think all this come from gaming. She said, I wish I would have let you keep playing the games more and stop telling you to turn the game off. And that's how every parent is growing up, right? And then when I talk to parents now, I tell them don't give them time to play the game, but don't let them play the game all the time because they need to focus on other stuff as well. But they can be here because this is a real profession now. This is not just a game.
bro, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that, bro, because a lot of parents, bro, they miss, and they have that little e-sporter sitting right there, and they like, nah, get off the game. You ain't, and it's like, bro, they can make enough money to change your life, their life, and
Yeah,
everybody around you life.
yeah.
So, yeah. Again, I really do appreciate you stopping through and coming through for this episode of Rap Games, bro.
Appreciate y'all for having me. Shout out to Sean and ManMan.
Hey man, it's been another good episode on Rap Game, episode 7. It's your boy DJ Young Sean, the Street Source,
And I'm man grind the fuck hard.
and we